Thank you, Judy. Next week, maybe we can have everything's up to date in Kansas City, since we're doing an Oklahoma theme. Welcome, my friends, to Unity South Twin Cities, and I welcome those watching online. We appreciate you bringing your consciousness and your support to this ministry. We are going to begin with our opening song, and I have a new helper. Well done. You picked up on that enthusiastic theme. So let us now center ourselves for this time we share together with an opening prayer. Let us pray. Father, Mother God, we acknowledge you are always and everywhere present. But we also acknowledge you've given us the gift of free will, and it is for us call forth your power and your substance to make our community and our world thrive. So let us each silently in our own way invite Spirit to use us to bless this world. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on me. And now let us join together in our statement of being. There is but one presence and one power in my life, in this church, and in the universe, God, the omnipotent good. And let that theme carry us through this day and into the next. It is now my pleasure to invite Luke Hendricks to come forward as assistant to continue this service.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's welcome our visitors joining us in person or online. Please, if you would, turn to the camera in the back of the sanctuary and let's greet them together with, we welcome you, we bless you, and we're glad you're with us today. We welcome you, we bless you, and we're glad you're with us today. All right. For everyone who's joined Unity South this morning, we offer this thought: I behold the Christ in you. Let's speak it together. I behold the Christ in you. Take a moment and look around the sanctuary and realize the Christ presence in everyone that you see. And now acknowledge that same presence to the people watching online. And now let's broaden our focus a little bit and honor seekers everywhere who turn their attention toward the one Spirit permeating creation. We offer this blessing for all spiritual communities. We honor the truth in you. Let's say that together. We honor the truth in you. Now returning our focus to our ministry, let's do our Unity South centering statement. Centered in God, assured by faith, and prospered by divine love, we boldly move forward to serve humanity by building our lives and Unity South Church together. All right, let's do the announcements. Join us next Sunday, June 12th, 10:30 a.m., as Reverend Stacey leads us with Insights in This Very Room. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said Americans consider themselves to be totally free, but they are not, because we often turn for guidance to experts and professionals instead of first going within. Ernest Wilson, Fillmore's successor, lived by the motto, first to God and then to humanity as God directs. Judy Moen and Sean Hockett will amaze us with their beautiful music next week. Now let us, what's that?
Bill Mann is substitute.
Oh, okay, pardon me. And Judy Moen and Bill Mann will be our musical guest next week. All right, with whistles. All right, let's prepare for a time of community prayer as I read the daily word. And the word today is truth. The light of truth shines in my heart. Like a kaleidoscope shifting patterns of dazzling colors, my life is always changing. Some of the changes I may like, others I may not, but I accept the changes nonetheless. I enjoy pleasurable moments while learning and growing through the more unpleasant ones. No matter where I find myself along the spectrum of human experience, I take comfort in spiritual truth. God is changeless. My rock and refuge in times of struggle, and the wings that lift me in times of ease and bliss. I remain steady and calm, even as I navigate life's inevitable changes, finding lasting comfort in the truth of God as absolute goodness. As I travel along my unique path, the steady light of truth shines from within me. And from 1 John chapter 2, verse 8. Yet I am writing you a new commandment that is true in him and in you, because the darkness is passing away and the true light is already shining. And now Don Rolfson will lead us in community prayer.
As we begin our time of community prayer, let's sit comfortably in our seats. Take a moment to relax. Let go of any cares or concerns you may be feeling. Breathe slowly and deeply. Close your eyes if you wish, and just be. Don't think about what happened before right now. Don't think about what might happen after right now. Just be here, right now. We acknowledge the power of everyone praying together with God, with good. The I am in each of us is our true nature, our divinity, our oneness with God. God is, therefore we are. God is love, therefore we are love. God is peace, therefore we are peace. God is harmony, therefore we are harmony. This is our true nature, our oneness with the divine power, the Christ within each of us. Feel that power. That is the power of praying together. The silent unity affirmation today is immersed in divine peace. All is well with my soul. Immersed in divine peace. All is well with my soul. I am in the presence and radiating the power of peace, here and now. In a state of peace, I recognize that no condition can cause me unrest. Peace is in my breath, flowing in my mind, throbbing in my heart. I am peace. In this peaceful state, we acknowledge the prayer requests Unity South has received. We behold and affirm the truth within these individuals, knowing that Spirit is working in their lives as they further awaken to the presence of God as their health, supply, and sense of purpose. Let's hold this thought as we take a few moments in the silence. God is, therefore we are. Let us now sing the Lord's Prayer and feel the truth that is expressed in this model of prayer taught by Jesus Christ.
Thy kingdom A prayer chaplain is available after this service to pray with you in the back of the sanctuary for anything on your mind, celebration, or challenge.
Feeling small when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side when times get rough, and my friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. When darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, sweet spirit, sail on high. Your time has come to shine. All of your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. And if you ever need a friend,
Thank you, Geoff. I feel empowered to move forward through any troubled waters. Today I want to begin with a story. This Sunday, in the Christian tradition, it comes from the Judaic tradition of Pentecost, which meant 50 days after Passover, and then transformed in our Christian history to approximately 50 days after Easter. It is the time that the power came upon Jesus' followers who were going to continue the work. I want to paint a scene. If you can imagine these followers of Jesus, what must they have thought about their troubled waters? Although their Christ, their Messiah, their Master, had arisen after the crucifixion and appeared to many, many people, the ascension had taken place. And Jesus Christ had ascended out of their sight. They could no longer sense or see him. But he had told them to go to that upper room where they had shared the Passover meal and to stay there, to stay together, to stay calm until the power of Spirit came upon them. So here they were, actually in hiding in Jerusalem because authorities were on their trail, trying to find any of the main followers of Jesus of Nazareth. And so I imagine they were quite frightened. But they stayed together, and they waited in that room. And then, as the scripture of Acts describes it, suddenly a mighty wind rushed through the room, and the sound of a roaring wind. I'm from the Midwest. I would be afraid of a tornado. But here they were, startled by this outburst of power. And then from that cloud came tongues of fire that lit on top of each one of them. Now, in the scriptures, we always have to be aware of how stories relate over time. There's a lot of wisdom. If you ever want to have fun, just practice looking through the New Testament, or especially the parables of Jesus that are found in the Gospels. And notice what story precedes the one you're reading. Perhaps you're reading about the prodigal son. What comes before and what comes after? Because everything is almost architecturally put together to give a message that we so often miss, even good old Daily Word, when they quote a sentence or two. The context is very important. And then in this context, the coming of the power had already descended upon Jesus in the baptism in the Jordan River by John the Baptist. We all can remember that story, that from the heavens came a dove and lighted upon Jesus. And then a mysterious voice, they didn't know from where, a heavenly voice came and said, "This is my beloved. Listen to him." Now, as Jesus departed from the physical scene, these disciples were left wondering, what do we do now? What's next? And suddenly this power came individually and lit as a tongue of fire upon each head of those men in that room, telling us that now the Spirit had empowered them as well. It was time for them to take up the work. And so over time, it was understood that the message there was, we all have this potential power, these gifts of God, given to us in potential, in an ideal way. But the time comes when we, as individuals, must take up, must be willing to shape and use that power and substance to bless our own life and our life as a community and a world. It's where, to use a modern cliche, it's where the rubber hits the road. Jesus had inspired thousands. He had demonstrated that life is always supreme over death. Though his physical body was crucified, he arose in 3 days, giving us the idea, the hope that we can always cling to, like a bridge over troubled waters, an idea that will carry us through the challenge into new possibility. But it is up to us. That is the difference, one might say, in celebrating the mystery of Easter, the triumph of life over death, of light over darkness. But at Pentecost, demonstrated in this story, it's when the individual comes to the realization, God has provided, now I must act. I must use the spiritual gifts given, whether we think of them in our unity tradition and the 12 powers, however you imagine that divine presence, that Christ within you, it is now up to you to take action and let that power work through you for your blessing and to bring blessing to others. I want to share a short poem that reminded me of this idea by the Nobel laureate and author Albert Camus. He said, "In the midst of hate, I found there was within me an invincible love. In the midst of tears, I found there was within me an invincible smile. In the midst of chaos, I found there was within me an invincible calm. I realized through it all that in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. And that makes me happy. For it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me, there's something stronger, something better, pushing back." To me, that is a Pentecost thought. That is a thought demonstrated in this story from Acts. That whatever we face, we have a choice as God's creation, as God's children, to take this ideal power within us, however we name it, the Holy Spirit, the Christ within, and allow it to guide our actions. But we must act. We must step out. There's that beautiful expression or description of faith by Dr. King that talks about one has faith when one takes the first step before one can see the whole staircase. Sometimes we let perfect be what? The enemy of good. We stand frozen and we take no action because I can't see the guaranteed outcome. We have to take a step forward. It's how Charles Fillmore in his writings about the 12 powers spoke of the silver window up there, will. It is that quality within your soul that says, I will go forward. I will act. I will do something to move forward from this situation in which I find myself. This Pentecostal thought, I will take action. I will move forward. So what does this say for us today? I like studying the Bible stories. I find great wisdom in them. And as a matter of fact, in coming weeks, when I return from the Unity Convention, we'll do a series of wisdom from the Bible. You know, it's still the world's best-selling book after all these centuries, because people find a depth of eternal wisdom. As Luke read from the Daily Word today, that concept that God is unchanging. God is that eternal power. And we go through temporal, changing experiences in this world. But if we remember we're always empowered, and by that I hope my battery holds out, okay, we can always draw on what Camus called the invincible power within us. Well, to get a moral from this story, I don't know how many of you grew up at the same time I did, but either fairy tales that were told to me or the cartoons on television so often had a moral at the end, a message about what the story was all about, what you were to take away from the story. In Unity and in our interpretation of the Bible, we often call that a metaphysical interpretation. That means, what does this truth mean in my life? How do I experience it? How do I understand it? Well, I think we can understand this moral, this invincible power within us as we look at some of the changes here in our own lives individually and in our lives collectively as the Unity South community. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got inflation going on. Prices rising. I keep driving by Sam's Club over here hoping the gas price will be a little different so that I can fill up. But it just keeps going up and up. So our expenses here at the church, they're going up too. And that's just part of how the world is working. But if we take this idea of Pentecost, we know we can do it. That God will provide for this community as we are willing to act, to not just sit back, but to take action. Yesterday we had a really fun example as 10 people showed up with very little notice, and we got busy outside on our property. And Jeremy showed up with his truck with 150 bags of mulch. And we got out there and spread it on the entire property. All the landscaping beds, the beautiful garden that's behind the building, which I'm afraid some of you don't go back there and look very often. And so I encourage you to take the trip behind our building and see what's growing. You know, Carlotta and her team only started that, I think, 4 years ago. It was my first year here at the church. And I just remember them pulling out those great big old shrub bushes that were back there and creating a whole new experience for us and for nature. When we planted the first milkweeds that very day, a monarch showed up and landed on one of the plants. But that was all created out of willingness. Willingness to come together and use that incredible phrase that is so empowering. What is it? How can I help? How can I help? Every not-for-profit, every church wants to hear that, but that's really a magic term that you can use in your friendships and relationships. It opens hearts. It opens minds to the possibility. How can I help? So, we do have challenges before us, but we can do it. And one way we're modeling this, it is summertime and the living is easy. Woo! So we're going to take this summer to try things a little bit differently. Starting next week, you will see that the order of our 10:30 service has a different quality to it. And I ask you, please don't be shy. My feelings are not easily hurt. Believe me. Give us feedback. Speak with your board members. Say, ooh, I like how this is flowing. If you weren't here last week for our first innovative service, I suggest you watch it online. It's still online at unitysouth.org. It was a whole new feel and way of doing things. Because things are changing, my friends. And it's not really a matter of whether we like the changes or not. They just are. Like nature, even around our beautiful church building, is different from year to year. Things grow differently. We had a very late spring. I thought some of our beautiful flowers were never going to come up, but they did, and they were beautiful. So there is change upon us. I'm suggesting you give your feedback, but we're also going to suggest that you carry in your heart that phrase, how can I help? How can I help? Because we're going to need each and every one of you to make this community thrive, to make this Unity South grow, expand, bring in new generations. We're going to have to try some new things, and we're going to have to do things a little bit differently. And for some of us, that's a little more uncomfortable than others. For others, it's like, ooh, what a breath of fresh air. I'll be going after our service next week to Kansas City for the Unity Annual Conference. And in that, there will be a lot of presentations around the theme, the ministry of the future. What is that all about? I kind of feel like a bridge over troubled waters because I don't know what I'm getting into when I go down to Kansas City. But if I remember that invincible power within me, within all of us, I can address the changes. I can see the possibilities within the changes. And we go from there. Come on in and have a good seat. I know, because I'm here practically 7 days a week, I know the challenges of change. I know when I open the bills. I know when there are changes coming about. And I sometimes stop and have that human thought. How are we going to do it? How are we going to carry this ministry forward? And then very often, after attending our 11 o'clock prayer service throughout the week in the sanctuary, I get a lift because I discover that calm, that power, that potential within me, within all of us, and within this community that we have formed. And then I'm encouraged because then I can see new ways that Spirit can work within us and work within this church. It hasn't been formally announced, but we are embarking on a total revamp of our website, thanks to individuals that stepped forward with the cash and with the creative mind of Adam Schneider back there and his company. We're going to recreate how we convey this ministry to our immediate surroundings, the Twin Cities, and even the world, and how we can build better ways, because we've had some dedicated folks that have stayed with us since we started live streaming. Hello out there. They've stayed with us, but we need to make it easier for them to connect. We want to make it easier for them to join our classes and other activities online. And also, we want to make it easier for them to give. That's an important part, the energy that keeps everything going. And sometimes when the technology gets clunky, it's a challenge for people to make that connection. So exciting things are coming out there. Stay with us. Well, yes. As they're all waving. Because our services will continue to be hybrid, that means both in person and online, because it's simply the wave of the future. People aren't coming to a specific location on a regular basis. They want to be able to tune in other ways. Well, somewhat out of convenience, but it also gives them new opportunities. And we have the opportunities of people joining us from several states throughout the country. And before COVID and before we went online, that would have been totally impossible unless they got in their car or took a bus or a train or a plane and came to Bloomington and joined us in this room. Now we've got this amazing way to extend our hugs from just here in this room to embracing vast numbers of people. And that's the direction we're moving. And I hope each and every one of you will get excited about that, stir up that Holy Spirit enthusiasm in you, will willingly come forward and say, how can I help? What can I do? How can I share my gifts with this ministry? That's what many of you are learning as we're about to conclude the keys to the kingdom this week, was learning how one benefits from sharing one's gifts. But we all have different gifts. We had great people gardening this week. We had other people meeting here in a committee to envision new possibilities. for our church. We have others that are excited about creating new social activities and events. There's a lot percolating and going on and waiting to come forth. But it will need all of us. 4 or 5 people can't do it. Well, they can do something wonderful, but they can't do the whole thing. So it's going to need everybody's support. And I know there are many generous givers in this congregation, people who devote a tremendous amount of time, which has gotten us through the challenges of COVID. I'm sorry to say that many of our friends, that is, many ministries, haven't made it. The Pew Research Organization estimates in 2022, when we're supposedly beyond COVID, but the steam will have run out. And they're suggesting 20 to 30,000 churches will close. It's an overwhelming number. But it doesn't have to be that way. I don't tell you that to scare you. I tell you that to remind you that we're in this tremendous time of change. And when things change, all kinds of new possibilities can sprout, take good root, and bloom. So there's wonderful possibility on the road ahead of us. So please, keep our whole spiritual family in your prayers. Consider how you can support this church with your gifts, financial, the gifts of what you can do, whether it's gardening or singing or teaching, whatever. Just remember, it all comes under that motto: how can I help? And we'll get there. We'll build that bridge over the chaos of the moment and come to a whole new field of possibilities. Build it, and they'll come. We are the builders. How can I help? How can you help? Let's take this into the silence for a moment. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore set the example. Whenever there was a challenge, and unity in the beginning had many. There were times when they came to foreclose on the printing presses, take all the office equipment away. And Charles and Myrtle would say, let's turn within. The first step is always going within our own consciousness, and going within the heart, the intention of this ministry, or unity as a worldwide movement. So I invite you to close your eyes. And as you do, quoting the beautiful Queen Elizabeth, whether your service here be short or long, whether you've been in this ministry from its beginning or for many years, or you've just joined us recently, I invite you to use that imaging power within your mind to behold first all of the good things, all of the wonderful people that have come through the doors of this church, what we have sustained for nearly 40 years, a symbol of a great era, a great time of completion, the number 40. All that's happened, all that's been meaningful and valuable to you and your family. And now allow your mind's eye to pivot and to behold a bridge over any of the present difficulties of these recent years. And behold the sun rising on a field of new possibilities, new accomplishments, new attendees and participants and members coming forth through the potential of spirit and arriving at our doors. Will we be ready? Will we be ready to embrace, to love, and to empower them, to make a difference in their lives? We will be ready. As long as we keep that message on our mind and our heart, how can I help? How can I do my part? How can I add to the intention of Unity South? To be a beacon welcoming all people into this grand idea that we have been given spiritual power and substance in potential, and we will create as much good as we choose to create, as we choose to bring forth. This is our Pentecost. Not the one of 2,000 years ago, the one of now. Father, Mother God, we give thanks for the power and the substance that you are ever ready to pour forth through our willing hands, our creative minds, our open hearts. And so it is. And we say, wow, wow, world of wonders. Thank you.
Come on, people, come on, children, come on down to the glory river. Gonna wash you up and wash you down. Gonna lay the devil down. Gonna lay that devil down. Come on, people, come on, children. There's a king at the glory river, and the precious king would love the people to sing. Babies in the blinking sun, singing we shall overcome. I got fury in my soul, fury gonna take me to the glory. Gold in my mind, I can't study war no more. Save the people, save the children, save the country now. Come on, people. that devil down. Come on, people, sons and mothers, keep the dream of the two young brothers. Take that dream and ride that dove. We can build a dream with love. I know we can build a dream with love. We can build a dream with love. I know it. We can build a dream with love. I got fury in my soul. Fear is gonna take me to the glory. Gold in my mind. Can't study war no more. Save the people. Save the children, save the country, save the country, save the country now.
All right, thank you, Geoff. Well, let's do our offering. I know, even though you may have already just done your offering. We are grateful for the gifts that have been sent by mail or given online or received in this sanctuary. Together, we will keep this ministry energized to complete its important mission so that all who turn to Unity South will be embraced, loved, and empowered by our collective consciousness. As you give your gift today, please hold in mind all you appreciate about this spiritual community. Consider what you are willing to give to keep our Unity South ministry thriving. Let's bless our abundant offering. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all the good that we are and have, all the good that we give and receive, and we are grateful. And those watching online may give through unitysouth.org.
Thank you, Luke. I served you several curveballs today, and you did just fine. So I invite you, let's stand for our closing song. The words on the back of your bulletin. Belt it out. Thank you all. And as we prepare to leave today, I invite you downstairs. I know there are lots of wonderful goodies. Go down there and let us seal this time together with our prayer for protection that makes these basic ideas of Spirit's presence and power in our life something that we can just speak from our heart. You don't need your bulletins. together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all in truth is well. Thank you. Good job today, sir.
Good job today, sir.
The